Okay, bye.
Was that your boss?
Mm-hmm.
Can you be the boss?
Possible starts now at strayer.edu.
Good morning, America. Breaking news. Former President George H.W. Bush hospitalized in Houston. The 92-year-old admitted for shortness of breath. We'll have what his chief of staff is revealing about his condition this morning.
President-elect Trump kicking off his inauguration festivities at a black-tie gala overnight and firing back at the more than 50 Democrats now refusing to attend his inauguration.
Are they going to give us their tickets or are they going to give them to other people?
This morning, his team bracing for some of the biggest showdowns yet between his new cabinet picks and Congress. Trump's senior advisor, Kellyanne Conway, will join us live.
ABC News exclusive. Abducted at birth, the young woman snatched from the hospital as a newborn, reunited with her biological parents 18 years later. Now speaking out for the first time about the woman who raised her.
She loved me for 18 years. She cared for me for 18 years.
Her message for the woman she says will always be mom, only on GMA.
And the stage is set. The rising star about to wow millions at the inauguration. Joining us live, high school student Jackie Ivanko performing the national anthem for President-elect Trump amid a barrage of criticism and backlash. Why she says she's doing it, revealed right here on GMA.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
Here.
President.
Good morning, America. All eyes on Washington, D.C. today, just 2 days before the Trump inauguration. You know, President Obama is going to give his final press conference at the White House today, wrapping things up as the transition of power speeds towards President-elect Trump.
And here's what we know about the president-elect's schedule for tomorrow. He's going to travel back to Washington, D.C. for a wreath-laying ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery. That, of course, to honor our military. In the afternoon, there will be a welcoming ceremony at the Lincoln Memorial for Trump, and Vice President-elect Mike Pence, Toby Keith, and Three Doors Down are set to perform. And then the main event, the inauguration Friday. The official oath of office will take place around noon.
And both Donald Trump and Mike Pence were in D.C. last night for the pre-inauguration dinner, and Pence tweeted this photo, dancing with his wife, saying, "Snuck in a dance with Karen backstage tonight. Couldn't wait for the inauguration balls to begin."
Little practice.
Got the party started early.
He did. We're going to have more details on the gala in a moment, but first we begin with that breaking news about former President George H.W. Bush, hospitalized in Houston. Let's get right to our chief White House correspondent, John Carl. What's the latest on his condition? John, good morning.
Good morning, Robin. Well, just days before the inauguration of the next president, America's oldest living president was rushed to the hospital with shortness of breath. The 41st president was rushed to Houston Methodist Hospital this past Saturday. The elder George Bush was last seen in public a couple of weeks ago at a Houston Texans football game he attended with his son Jeb. He famously went skydiving to celebrate his 90th birthday, but George H.W. Bush has had several health scares in recent years. In 2015, he fractured a bone in his neck at the family's summer compound at Kennebunkport, Maine. And in 2012, Bush spent 2 months in intensive care for a bronchial-related illness. Bush has a form of Parkinson's disease and uses a motorized scooter to get around. But despite the health challenges, his spirit remains strong. Just over a week ago, he visited his old friend, astronaut Gene Cernan, in the hospital, just days before Cernan died. The spokesperson for George W. Bush says that he is resting comfortably right now. They hope that he'll be released from the hospital within a couple of days. But he was already skipping this inauguration due to health concerns. That said, President Bush was certainly no fan of Donald Trump. In fact, he was reportedly seen throwing his shoes at the television set during the Republican primaries because he didn't like Trump's attacks on his son, Jeb. George, Michael, Robin?
And we know he voted for Hillary Clinton. That's what he said. Hope he's okay.
We do hope he's okay.
Absolutely. We're going to get the latest now on the Trump inaugural, just 2 days away. And the president-elect kicked off his celebrations last night with a gala for foreign diplomats and business leaders. As you see him there with the vice president-elect. There were protests, too. ABC's Cecilia Vega in Washington with the details. Good morning, Cecilia.
George, good morning to you. Protesters here on the streets of D.C. and now the number of congressional Democrats planning to protest his inauguration on Friday is growing. That number now up to 55 people who say they are staying home. Donald Trump kicked off his inauguration festivities with the black tie gala and his running mate overnight. The room packed with nearly 200 foreign diplomats. For many, their first interaction with the man who is about to become president.
We have great respect for your countries. We have great respect for our world.
The president-elect center stage, but shining the spotlight on his Secretary of State pick, ExxonMobil CEO Rex Tillerson, fresh off his Capitol Hill confirmation grilling.
We have a man that I wanted right from the beginning, Rex Tillerson. I think it's tougher than he thought. He figured, you know, he's led this charmed life. He goes into a country, takes the oil, goes into another country. It's tough dealing with these politicians, right? He's going to be so incredible.
Whoa. But just blocks away, there were protesters outside of the Trump Hotel, including a man who attempted to light himself on fire. Now, just hours away from taking the oath of office, this morning Trump is taking aim at the growing number of congressional Democrats planning to boycott his swearing in. 1 in 4 now say they'll skip the ceremony in protest.
That's okay, because we need seats so badly. I hope they give me their tickets. Are they going to give us their tickets, or are they going to give them to other people?
Also largely absent, A-listers. But America's first reality TV star turned president tells Fox News this inauguration is about the people, not celebrities.
I read where some of them decided, they told us they're not going to sing. They were never asked to sing. All of these so-called, you know, celebrities, they were all saying, well, I don't want to go. But one of them said, well, I have told them I'm not going to sing. They were never asked to sing. Many of the celebrities that are saying they're not going, they were never invited. Well, I don't want the celebrities, I want the people.
And another declaration this morning in that interview from Donald Trump. He says, quote, I don't like tweeting. I have other things I could be doing. He says tweeting is a way to counteract the media. George, as you know, last year he said in an interview, I love tweeting. So he'll still be tweeting as president.
And he's got a lot of followers, more than 30 million followers. So also in that interview, you know that Donald Trump been in something of a feud with the CIA, accusing them of Nazi-like tactics, suggesting that the CIA director, John Brennan, leaked that controversial dossier, unverified claims about Mr. Trump. But now it appears in the interview he's trying to put this all to rest.
Yeah, a very public feud and an awkward one at that. Donald Trump is now saying in this recent interview that's out, he accepts that John Brennan was not behind the leak, but he also says that the intel community should not have been behind that Russian dossier, George. So this feud's still ongoing, I think.
Okay, Cecilia Vega, thanks very much.
In Georgia, a fierce showdown expected on Capitol Hill again today as 4 of President-elect Trump's cabinet members, nominees, go before Congress. A lot of eyes are on Tom Price, the nominee to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. Our congressional correspondent, Mary Bruce, has the latest on all that. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Robin. This is a big day here with some of Trump's most controversial picks in the hot seat. Democrats are bracing for a showdown over HHS nominee Tom Price. Now, if confirmed, he would be the architect of Trump's plan to repeal and replace Obamacare. But this morning, Democrats are raising concerns about his finances. They're questioning whether Price made improper healthcare stock trades while also serving on a key healthcare committee. Now, the Trump transition team has launched a fierce defense, but expect there to be plenty of fireworks up here later today. Also expected to get heated, the hearing for Scott Pruitt, Trump's pick for EPA. As Oklahoma Attorney General, he sued the EPA 14 times. And our Brian Ross is reporting there are likely to be big questions today about about donations from big energy companies that came to groups with ties to Pruitt just as he was suing that agency. Robin.
And Mary, Trump's pick for Education Secretary was also facing a lot of tough questions well into the night.
Yeah, lots of questions about her qualifications. Betsy DeVos is known as a longtime charter school advocate, and she refused to rule out last night whether she would divert funding from those private school options to public school options. Now, the biggest thing getting attention this morning, though, is this exchange on guns in schools that came with Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut. Take a look.
You can't say definitively today that guns shouldn't be in schools?
Well, I will refer back to Senator Enzi and the school that he was talking about in Wapiti, Wyoming. I think probably there, I would imagine that there's probably a gun in the school to protect from potential grizzlies.
Now, that comment getting a lot of people and a lot of gun control advocates talking this morning. Robin.
It certainly has, Mary. Thank you.
Okay, let's get more on this now from the President-elect Senior Advisor, Kellyanne Conway. She's in Washington right now. Good morning, Kellyanne. Thanks for joining us right now. You know, Democrats, that hearing for Betsy DeVos, Democrats complaining they only got 5 minutes to question her. They want to have another hearing before they go forward. It now appears that some of these confirmation hearings are slowing down. Are you concerned that you're not going to have a full cabinet in place when the president takes office?
George, we certainly hope that President-elect Trump will have that cabinet in place the way President Obama and President George W. Bush did, our two most recent presidents. They had upwards of 7 to 9 confirmed on Inauguration Day. So Friday is coming quickly. We certainly hope and expect that we'll be able to have a peaceful transition of government, which includes having a cabinet in place. Even George W. Bush, George, who came into office on December 12th, some 5 weeks after the actual election through a Supreme Court decision, there were a lot of people who felt cheated, raw nerves, hurt feelings, and yet he had 9 of his cabinet nominees confirmed in that first week, because the Senate usually recognizes that you need state and treasury and commerce and defense in place to keep us going.
Yeah, and I know there have been some issues with making sure all the ethics forms are in. But let's move on now. The president-elect clearly not happy with that series of new polls showing that he'll be the most unpopular president taking office in modern times. But the country clearly is divided. So does he feel any need in this inaugural to reach out to those Americans who don't support him?
Well, we've discussed the polls. He knows that the polls also show very important things to Americans, including your ABC News poll, like a majority saying that Donald Trump will have a positive impact on the economy and jobs. They believe he will keep us safer. But more broadly, outside of any one poll, if you look at this inaugural address, and I've seen it, you do see a president who's making good on his promise from election night, George, to be the president of all Americans, and that includes the millions who did not vote for him. That theme will be carried over into his inaugural address. It's a beautiful, elegant, very strong, powerful message. And yes, it is America first, and yes, he's a man of action. But at the same time, he recognizes that to move forward, we need to come together. We hope that the Democrats who said they're not coming to the inauguration can reconsider. They certainly are invited, because that's the way that you show America that we're coming together to solve some really significant problems.
And does the statement from the president-elect that he doesn't like tweeting mean that he's going to be tweeting less?
Not necessarily. What he is saying is that this is one of the only ways that he can actually connect and communicate directly with the American people. We are not treated fairly by many media outlets. Thank you for the platform here, George, as always. But this is the way that he goes around those who want to, I think, toxify his message and distort his message and communicate and connect. The man is the most brilliant communicator and natural connector I've ever met. And you saw last night with the diplomatic corps, I was at that dinner with the president-elect, a really remarkable historic event to have about 200 members of the diplomatic corps all in a room, ambassadors, diplomats, ministers, and to a person, they were so excited to be included. You have President Obama, fancies himself some kind of globalist, never did an event like this. You have Donald Trump coming in as the new president, getting off on the right foot, cross-religious, cross-cultural, cross-national, international celebration.
Let's talk about health care. President-elect said he has the goal of insurance for everyone, even those who can't pay for it. You've said that under Mr. Trump's plan, no one who has coverage will lose it. But the Congressional Budget Office said just yesterday that the repeal could cost 18 million people their insurance right away. So how will President Trump guarantee that everyone who now has coverage will keep their coverage?
Well, what we're saying is that people who are relying on insurance currently, George, will not go without coverage during the time of transition. He has made that clear. I think he said it at his press conference or sometime last week. Secondly, it's just a more patient-centric, free market system of buying and having health care. Why? Because you'll have a health savings account with your name on it, where you own it and you will be able to control spending. We will block grant Medicaid to the states probably. So those who are closest to the people in need, who know how to administer, will do so. And of course, the big one, that you can buy health insurance across state lines. Your viewers right now know that they buy goods and services across state lines every day. Why, in the most intimate purchase that you can make as an American for your health care, would you not be able to do that? So he wants to make sure it's truly affordable and accessible. There are Americans who have been helped through the Affordable Care Act. They will not be harmed, but there are many Americans who feel that they had great benefits and their premiums have skyrocketed, their choice, their quality, and their access has been diminished. We want to help those people.
Kellyanne Conway, thanks very much.
Thank you, George.
And tomorrow night, our coverage will continue. We're going to have an inside look at America's new first family as the Trumps head to Washington. That's a special edition of 2020, starting at 10 Eastern. Then Friday, I'll be anchoring our nonstop live coverage of the inauguration. Of course, it begins right at 7 a.m. here on GMA, continues all day through the inaugural parade.
But now, George, to the President Obama, his commuting of the 35-year sentence of Chelsea Manning, the former Army intelligence analyst who leaked hundreds of thousands of sensitive documents to WikiLeaks. Now that founder, Julian Assange, saying he welcomes the decision and that Manning is, quote, a hero whose bravery should be applauded. The president's decision provoking strong reaction on both sides of the aisle. ABC's chief global affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz has more, joins us from Washington. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning, Robin. As you can imagine, the strongest negative reaction coming from Republicans, veterans John McCain and Tom Cotton, both highly critical, and Speaker of the House Paul Ryan calling it outrageous. Manning leaked 700,000 documents that revealed all kinds of American secrets. Manning has already served 7 years of the 35-year sentence, the longest sentence ever imposed in a leak case. She tried to commit suicide twice last year, one of her lawyers saying her release was a matter of life and death. Robin.
And also, Martha, we saw the president pardoning a retired general, and there were some other pardons that raised a few eyebrows. Tell us about those.
Exactly. Retired General James Haas Cartwright, a former Marine Corps fighter pilot who became the vice chairman of the Joint Chiefs, was a key member of the national security team. But last year, Cartwright pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI about conversations with journalists involving classified material. In explaining that pardon, a White House official said that in those discussions with journalists, Cartwright was actually trying to prevent publication of classified information. Robin?
All right, Martha, thank you.
All right, thank you, Robin. And now to the major storm that's hitting the West, and Neil Karlinski is in Portland, Oregon with that information. Good morning, Neil.
Michael, good morning. Portland just can't catch a break this winter, crushed by several heavy snowstorms and now this ice storm. Take a look at this video. You can see a truck sliding out of control. One semi just narrowly misses it. Then another one can't stop or get out of the way in time. It smashes into that truck. The road's just so icy. In fact, a major highway, I-84, partially closed because of the ice. Major delays and cancellations at the airport here, but the weather is now warming up. The rain's coming down. That ice is melting. The concern all up and down the West Coast, in fact, now turns towards possible flooding. Guys?
All right, Neil, thank you very much. We're going to talk to Ginger about that in just a moment. But now, Amy has morning's other top stories, starting with a series of earthquakes in Italy.
That's right. 3 earthquakes, Robin, hit central Italy today with tremors felt in Rome. The first was a magnitude 5.3. Less than an hour later, a slightly stronger quake hit, followed by another aftershock. No reports of any serious damage so far. Quakes, though, you may remember, in the same region last year killed nearly 300 people. An accused cop killer in Orlando has been captured after a 9-day manhunt. Police say Markeith Lloyd was wearing body armor when they arrested him in a vacant house after tracing his text messages. He is wanted for the murder of Master Sergeant Deborah Clayton in a Walmart parking lot and for the shooting of his ex-girlfriend. The Secret Service has settled a $24 million discrimination lawsuit. The case was brought by 100 black agents who claimed their less qualified white colleagues repeatedly received promotions. The Secret Service did not admit any wrongdoing in that settlement. And finally, some things are just meant to go together. Bacon and eggs, peanut butter and jelly, and beer and yoga. It is gaining popularity in Europe. Fans say pairing yoga philosophies with drinking beer allows you to, quote, reach your highest level of consciousness. I'm sure that's okay as long as you don't reach a level of unconsciousness. That's probably not good. But they say both are centuries-old therapies for mind, body, and soul.
Okay.
You're not buying it, I can tell.
You can give it a try.
Try it, right?
We had goat yoga the other day.
There you go.
Goat yoga, now beer yoga.
I'd rather have beer yoga.
And
Just
now
saying.
we had all that, and now we have ginger.
Yeah.
What you got?
Sounds very peaceful, the unconscious part too, a little bit. Let's go ahead and look. The flash flooding situation this morning in Houston, up to 5 inches of rain around Houston, falling in just 3 hours. A quick look at what's happening out west, and we'll tell you more about that in a bit. But first, we've got to get to the snowy cities, brought to you by Burlington.
We always come to Burlington to buy our coats. And we also come to give them back, to help those in need. Can't beat the brands, the styles, and when we donate a coat at Burlington, we get 10% off our entire purchase. Burlington's been collecting coats for 10 years.
Bring in your coats!
Look who's lining up to donate coats and share the warmth. For 10 years, together we've helped keep America warm. And now this year,
it's getting a little cold outside, so I wanted to remind everybody to go and donate a coat.
So go to any Burlington store to donate a coat and be part of our annual coat drive.
Well, happy Wednesday, everyone. Heading out the door, you'll just need a jacket today. You're not going to need the heavy coat. Still